Hello and welcome to another 2 Network match report with me, Adam. It's finished at St James's Park. Newcastle 2, Huddersfield 0. It was Miguel Almirón's full debut at home in front of 52,000, and bloody hell did he have an impact. Absolutely very impressive. But I mean, in terms of overall, it was kind of a relieving victory, wasn't it? Especially with the opportunity that those results on Friday night had given us, with Cardiff getting absolutely tonked and Fulham getting tonked as well. So it's kind of there was definite opportunity there to sort of move away from the relegation zone as it stands, because Palace are playing as we speak. Newcastle are into 15th. They were briefly into 14th, but we're into 15th. Currently 4 points ahead of Southampton in 18th in that sort of final relegation spot. But you know, there was a lot of pressure on us to win today. Huddersfield are an atrocious football club, and I think rightly so. They'll be out of the Premier League after this season. They have only amassed 11 points today. In the last 15, they've lost. In the last 15 games, they've lost, I think, 14 and drawn the last. You know, they were an absolutely terrible outfit, and away from home, just, you know, the lowest scorers as well. So there wasn't, you know, all of form and history was against Huddersfield today. And even with, you know, Moy being on the pitch, you know, he was one that has been one of their biggest talismans from, you know, the last couple of seasons, since the Championship season really. And you know, we were lucky not to have him in the side when we beat them at their place 1-0 in the reverse fixture. But to be honest, he didn't really have a chance to do much today, because I think our centre midfield pairing, which was previously a reserve team pairing out of necessity, which has become our first choice centre midfielders for now. I mean, Shelvey has been injured, Keys was still coming back, but Diarmi was there to be selected. And you know, I think one of the reasons that Hayden, I think Longstaff's in there absolutely, and you know, on merit, and it'll be interesting to see what happens when we have all of our centre midfielders back fit. But it's a lovely problem to have. But I think Hayden's in there ahead of Diarmi simply because he, you know, we saw against Wolves him playing that box-to-box role. So Longstaff likes to sit deep, pass it around, take the ball, you know, just keep play ticking over, you know, calm, composed, easy passes, doing the simple stuff, doing the basic stuff right, spreading the play. And Hayden, you know, without the ball, was just chasing down. His energy levels were incredible today. They were honestly phenomenal. But I also thought his ability to progress and support the forward play, which again, like you say, we saw against Wolves, which led to his goal, and he did that today. But I mean, let's go back to the kind of the first half really, and you know, the only change really from you know, the last game was Atsu out, Miguel Almirón in, which I had called. I fully expected him to play there. I knew he'd put a shift in, as well as obviously the attacking play that he's very capable of doing. And I think although he didn't score today, although he didn't assist, he's had a debut that he'll never forget, and I think most of us won't forget either. Is the first 25 minutes was insane. He was everywhere. But I mean, at the start of the game was really weird, because Huddersfield completely dominated play for that first 10 minutes, and we couldn't settle in. I remember glancing at the time, and it was about 4.5 minutes, and I was thinking we haven't had possession at all yet. We hadn't had possession at all, and they were kind of controlling things for that opening. But I just think we needed to settle in, and what we found, obviously, and we saw there was a moment where, you know, the first big moment of the game where Miguel Almirón bursts clean of what is a very high Huddersfield line, like suspiciously high. That was very odd to me. The defenders had a little tug on him, haven't he? And Almiron sort of, I mean, his pace is just absolutely electric, and I think Huddersfield didn't really know what the hell was going on. I don't think they could handle his pace. So they resorted to other measures, but we'll get into that in a minute. And he's one-on-one, and most people would maybe snatch at a shot, or another player might have tried to take it round the goalkeeper. Not Miggy. Miggy goes for a chip on his full home debut, like after about 15 minutes or something. 13 I think it was, and he just over Lursel and just agonisingly hits the post, doesn't it? It was so close to just the dream start. Like, I'd seen enough in that first 20 minutes of Wolves to think, like, this kid's up for it. Like, he wants to be involved. He's not going to shirk away. He wants to be involved in this team. He wants to be the heartbeat of this team. And you saw that today, and that chance was so unlucky. And then Rondon got the follow-up. He tried to just blast it. That came off the wrong side of the post as well. So you're just thinking, how have we possibly not scored there? And everyone's just like, everyone's up and got their hands to their face and going, what? So that that was pretty funny. And then it was shortly after that it was the red card. Smith, which was really strange actually, because a couple of minutes before that red card incident, Hayden had sort of lunged in from behind, and I'd said out loud to myself, "Oh, that's a yellow card." It was a yellow card, looked it, even though it was quite early on in the game. The referee, Kevin Friend, kind of didn't. He just gave him a talking to. It was just a slight reprimand. It wasn't a yellow card. So I kind of thought, oh bloody hell, the ref's being quite lenient here. Fast forward 2 minutes, and we're on another counter attack again. Huddersfield pushing up high, and Almiron just gets. I think it was Perez got kind of took out as he passed the ball to Almiron. So there was almost like a play-on situation going on already. And then Smith, as the ball's coming in, Almiron, just an absolute reducer on the Paraguayan, like just completely takes him out. And even then, in the moment, having been there from where I was sitting in the the bottom of the stand in the middle, I was kind of thinking, that's a yellow. I didn't for 1 second think that the referee was ever going to send him off. Maybe because we haven't seen a red card for an opposition player at St James's Park since possibly that Stoke thrashing. Honestly, it was years ago. Don't quote me on that if I've got it wrong. I'm adrenaline, but I'm pretty sure it's years. And the straight red, and I haven't seen the footage. I haven't seen any of the goals again. Since doing this video, I just wanted to get home and get it out. But I've heard that there were stud marks on Almiron's shin pad, like. Like it seemed that the referee got that absolutely bang on, and we don't want to see things like that. I mean, obviously, the cliched. I mean, it'll be bingo of how many commentators will say, "Welcome to English football, Miguel Almirón." No. Great. That's an appalling challenge, and it shows absolutely no respect to the safety of fellow players. That's terrible. That's awful. So I mean, in the moment, I thought, it's a yellow, and surprised at the red. But having heard quite what the impact was, and that it was studs up, it sounds like he's absolutely had to go. And maybe it wasn't as malicious, and maybe their player was genuinely going for the ball. But mistiming things like that, poor decision making is another reason why Huddersfield are bottom of the league with 11 points. We going into this game, we had more than double their points output, their points tally for the season, which is, given it's getting on towards the end of February, that's terrible. That's really, really bad. And at that point, as much as I think we started growing into the game anyway at that point, it was going to be an uphill task for Huddersfield at that point, and it was kind of, could they withhold the attacking threat that we were going to throw at them? And we had loads of chances. Like Almiron was set loose on the left a couple of times. Got a cross in for Perez that was sort of blocked and saved. You had Almiron who was winding in and out and had a shot that nearly went through Lursel's legs and it rolled across the line and it cleared out, and everyone's like, and he was, Almiron was getting so close to getting that goal that he obviously, desperately wanted to score. You could see it. But at the same time, what I loved actually, just going back to that red card incident, which I forgot to mention, when he's on the touchline our side, he was chatting with the physio, and you just knew he knew it was all right because he had this this signature Almiron grin on his face. Like he was just loving it, and I saw it through the whole game that Almiron was just really enjoying himself. And obviously when we went goal 2 goals up, he was able to relax to think that, well, the pressure's not on me that I missed that big chance at the start, so he could probably breathe a little easier, and he was just, and you could just tell he was really, really enjoying himself out there. And that's what it's all about, man. You know, if our players are loving being there, loving being coached by Rafa, loving finding pockets and looking for chemistry, and you know, feeling the fans chant your name and just soaking up the atmosphere. That's exactly what we want from Almiron. We want to welcome him, and we want to get the best out of him. We really, really do, and it's been just a great start. It's been a really, really good start for him. But you know, so besides that, I think we then started to take. You know, there's a few shots there that I've mentioned. There's a great shot from Perez that kind of, you know, the keeper tipped over as well in the first half, and then there's Rondon, you know, had a shot blocked from inside the box, and then there was the great cross in from Sean Longstaff from the right hand side, where Rondon went in for the diving header and just couldn't make the connection that he wanted. I don't know how far away from the ball he was. I don't know if he really should have been, whether he was unsighted. I don't know quite what happened there, but you know, it was just another chance where you're just thinking, come on. And then the start of that, by the end of that first half, we had 16 shots in total and 7 on target, which is, honestly, they're fantastic numbers. They are really, really strong numbers, considering we've gone through some games this season without getting a shot on target. You know, forgive my cat there. You know, we've gone through plenty of games where we've only got 2 shots on target, 3 shots on target in the entire game. No. 7 on target in the first half. And you're just thinking, like, that kind of shows... be quiet, get out of here. That kind of shows just how well we were playing, and the attacking threat that we did have there. So yeah, you know, this chemistry between the front three was becoming really apparent, because... And there was another chance where Rondon was sort of through on goal, and Lursel had to just race out and made a really good block. But you kind of see just the, you know, this dynamic between Rondon holding the ball up and Perez and Almiron feeding off him and running around him and running into pockets. You know, we're playing like really clever 1-2s where, you know, the first passer would sort of pass and move and expect the ball over the top or through the middle. And you know, as the game grew on, you've got Almiron looking for those pockets, and you got more confident. I mean, what I did find about Almiron, and this will get better with time, obviously, he had a cracking game. I'm not going to sit here and criticise him after we just won, but I felt that a couple of times he was sort of maybe making the same runs as Perez sometimes, and they had like the same thought in mind. And equally with Richie, they seemed to be sometimes just on top of each other, but I kind of thought it was a really weird thing where I thought like there was a few opportunities where Richie could have easily just, you know, made a simple pass to Almiron, and he didn't do it, and it happened about sort of 4, 5, 6 times, and you start to think like, is Richie holding a grudge from like a training session or something? Like it was just odd that he didn't pass to him. And then, you know, Almiron had a shot again in the first half where the keeper had to come across and save, and we got a corner from it, and Richie's getting apoplectic at the side, just saying, why didn't you pass? I'm just thinking, well, how, Richie, like, you haven't passed to him all game. Why would you suddenly expect him to do the same to you? So I don't know if it was like some weird hazing thing that Richie was doing. I've got no idea. But anyway, at the end of that 0-0, at half time, I was kind of wondering to myself, like, why was there so much space in behind them? Why was their line so high? And then it dawned on me that Huddersfield came here to win. They came here to attack and to win, because they don't have a choice. They have 11 points. As it stands, away from Cardiff, at 25 points, they have 14 points from safety with now 11 games to play. I mean, that's just, I think they're gone. I thought that before, but I think almost it's getting in the realms of sort of mathematical impossibilities now. Like, they had to come here and try and win. And the red card obviously completely destroyed any hope that they had, because they had to take Puncheon off to fill in the gap. Puncheon, one of the most experienced players, mobile, you know, has a shot on him on occasion, but and the fact that it was their captain as well probably meant that, you know, that togetherness on the pitch wasn't going to be there either. So it was such an opportunity, and then I was, you know, that they were having to go for it, that I thought, right. So the second half, there was kind of no excuses at that point, and that does create a real pressure and tension that the players had to deal with. But within a minute, 46 minutes gone, I think, you know, the ball was played into the box, it was worked in, and Perez was there kind of holding it up, and who's there but Isaac Hayden, who I'd said before has this box-to-box thing, and he likes to progress, and he supply, you know, he created support for the front people, and you know, there was a couple of opportunities where he almost could have snatched it with his left foot to get a shot away, because it was well in the box. Rondon was there, and the ball rolled out to Rondon, and Rondon just smashes it, and it sort of goes through Lursel, but I think he's so close and he hits it so hard. I don't know. In fact, they're both the goals. I wondered whether the keeper could have done better, but maybe they were just a bit too close, and through a sea of people and whatever. Maybe the replays will show otherwise, that, you know, that he had no choice. Sorry, he had no chance from that distance. But for Rondon just to smash it in, and there was just such a relief around the stadium, and, you know, having had such an impressive first half, Newcastle, in terms of, you know, attacking potency, to finally get one finished, 1-0, and I just thought, I don't think Huddersfield are coming back from one. And then it was about 5-6 minutes later, Almiron from the left-hand side involved, hoisted a long ball up the top, and Yedlin, who I must say was really, really, really impressive today from an offensive point of view. To be honest, he didn't really have to do anything defensively at all. He was able to have that, you know, freedom going forward, and he was often some of them, you know, he was looking to try and beat the offside trap. He was often our most advanced player at times on that far, waiting for the diagonal ball to come from Lejeune, who really sort of spread it out wide a couple of times. Great. Cher's obviously one of those players who can do the same. But he'd sort of stayed up after a sort of forward run. And when the ball had gone down the left-hand side instead of the right-hand side of the Edlin, you just think, he's ran all this way. But Almiron plays the ball across to the back, you know, the back of the, you know, the back corner of the penalty box, and Yedlin just has the intelligence just to play a ball into towards kind of Perez. In towards Rondon, and Rondon was back to goal, just does a little flick, and Perez is there just to tuck it away, and it's brilliant, and it's 2-0, and that 2-0 was game one, and it very much felt that, you know, last season, that 3-0 at home to Southampton, a very, very similar time of the season, maybe it's a bit earlier now, but similar time of the season, similar magnitude of game, that we have to beat a relegation rival at home. And after an hour against that Southampton side, that 3-0, it was game over, and there was just suddenly no pressure. It wasn't a competitive fixture anymore, and I kind of felt the same happen today. We, maybe not to the same extent, but given it was only 2-0, but given that Huddersfield had just offered nothing up front, obviously they're down to 10 men at this point, so there's only so much that they could do, given how well our midfield were playing. Hayden, Longstaff, just spot on, like absolutely spot on. But that second goal just killed them for me, and it just meant that we could kind of play with a bit more freedom and relief, and we could try things. And on 66 minutes, you know, the subs board went up, and I was expecting Almiron to be pulled off. You know, he's had an hour, great debut, but no, took Richie off and put Kennedy on as wing back, who actually had a pretty decent game, I thought, given how kind of terrible he's been of late. And you start to think, well, you know, we've got Diarmi on the bench, Fernandez, Dummett, Kennedy, all these players are first team players, and suddenly we have a squad, and it's really nice to have a squad again. I say again, it hasn't often happened, and I mean, the last time we probably had a squad was the championship season. But I mean, I almost think we've had a squad out of default this time around, because we've had to rely on the likes of Hayden and Longstaff, who were nowhere near. But out of necessity, they're now in playing on merit, which is absolutely great to see. And once Rafa finds a formula that clicks, like we've seen plenty of times before, he's very reluctant to change that, because why would he? You know, he's always looking to play the strengths. I just think the forward three worked so well. And even like, you know, we had chances in the second half, you know. Almiron had a shot from range, I think, and Longstaff hit one off the, I think they hit the post as well. And then there was that brilliant volley from Kennedy where he just came out of nowhere and he just lashed at it. And I think the keeper's made a save and it's hit the bar and looped up in the air and just, it was just kind of chaos. You were just thinking, like, how have we not got another? I mean, it comfortably could have been 4 or 5-0. I'd be interested to see the expected goals. I think the expected goals would probably be close to 3, I reckon. You know, given just how dominating a performance that was. But you know, you could point at the fact that Huddersfield were terrible. You could point at the fact that they were too attacking and that the line was too high. You could have a look at you know, the fact that you could say, oh, we missed too many shots, or you know, we just couldn't put them away. But at the end of the day, that was a really, really impressive and much needed attacking performance. And that is a signal to the rest of the, you know, the relegation rivals. You know, you look at Burnley, who've got a really good win at Spurs today. They're up to 30 points. But if we beat them at the weekend, sorry, if we beat them on Tuesday, you know, we're going to be a point ahead of them, and we're going to be definitely at least in 14th. So you kind of think that's a huge game in itself as well. And I still, you know, I was there at Burnley at Turf Moor early in the season where we beat them, and there's no reason why we can't do that again at home, especially after seeing, and like I said, this performance and how you know, cutthroat we can be in the final third now. The amount of chances we created, absolutely spectacular today. It's so good to see. It's so refreshing that we are now going to be so dangerous, because everyone knows how good our defence is. Before the round of fixtures, we had the joint 6th best defence in the Premier League, which is madness given, you know, the relative value of it. So if we can have a solid defence, but then mix that with getting 12 shots on target, 29 shots in total, which I think is our highest number of shots in a Premier League game since 2012 against Swansea, I think BBC was saying. That absolutely incredible. And you know, Almiron made it through 80 minutes, and Rondon came off for Hoslu later on. Obviously Atsu came on as well. So I'm really pleased. And Almiron, playing with a smile on his face, looked a threat. And the best thing about Almiron today, it wasn't how, you know, it wasn't how dangerous he was going forward, finding pockets, feeding Perez with through balls, for example. He's passing and moving. He's always just wanting to be involved. He wants the ball all the time. He wants to be a part of everything, and I absolutely love that. It's really refreshing to see. He wants to be at the forefront of everything. But for me, it was the ugly stuff he did. It was the tackling back. It was the pressing. It was the getting in position in front of his man, goal side of his man, and making them play backwards. And the amount of times they had to pass back to their goalkeeper because of the work Perez was doing and the work that Almiron was doing and the work Hayden was doing moving forward and pressing high as well. You know, the fact that Almiron is willing to do that stuff makes him absolutely perfect for Rafa Benitez, because he's a you know, in a way, you could have brought a player like Almiron in as an attacking threat because we need one, and you'd almost have to say, yeah, he's a bit of a luxury because we just need more because we're one of the lowest scorers in the whole league. But the fact that Almiron can be potent in the final third with chance creation, with attacking third passes, and also get a few interceptions and blocks in and run into, you know, just run at defenders in possession and make them panic and make a pass and pass back to the goalkeeper. The fact that he does all that, and he's so quick, and he's so fit, and it's really impressive stamina. It really bodes well. I think we're all just taking for granted how quickly he's integrated, Almiron. We've only seen him play for, you know, essentially 100 minutes of Newcastle United football. 100 minutes. And think what he's done in that time. He's you know, gone on an amazing run at Wolves. He's tackled back at Wolves. He has hit the post. He's had a few shots on target. He's played some amazing through balls. He's got a man sent off. Do you know what I mean? He's already kind of done, and this might be an unfair comparison, but for me, he's already kind of had more impact on the season than like Atsu has all season, and obviously Atsu's worked hard, but I just mean in terms of, tackles, interceptions, blocks, but through balls, chances created, shots on target, that kind of stuff. I think he's just flying. He's integrated so quickly, and I think it's so exciting because now we're going to have him at full pelt for the rest of the season. Like the fact that he has come to Newcastle straight after his end of season, so he's completely refreshed, he's completely fit, and you could say he could have gone on for another. He would have easily played the 90 minutes and could have possibly easily played another 90 minutes on Tuesday. And I can't imagine a scenario where he's fit and he doesn't start again. He's fantastic. There were some brilliant drums outside the Strawberry Corner before the game. Proper Latina style, was brilliant, great for atmosphere. And then, in the ground, the big war flags, War Almiron, flag display as well, which is really, really impressive with his shirt and number as well. I mean, that's a big welcome for Miggy, and I think a lot of people have seen what he's capable of, even just in one game, and I'm sure this will not be the first time, it's not the last time I'm going to be waxing lyrical about his performances, because I think he's only going to get better with every game, with every week that he spends training with Rafa Benitez, getting to do exactly what he wants to do. There'll be better chemistry, even though we've already seen the beginnings of some brilliant attacking chemistry. This is a player to get really excited about, and again, with 28 points, with 11 games left, you think 35 points probably does us, doesn't it? You think that's another 7 points. We're kind of looking for 2 more wins, aren't we? We're looking for 2 more wins between now and the end of the season, and then we'll probably get a couple of draws as well. That's all we need, I reckon, to survive. And we are not the worst team. I just think with the defence we have, you look at Burnley, Brighton and Cardiff and Southampton. I think Southampton might have enough. I think Cardiff are in trouble. I think Brighton are really slipping down there, and they're in trouble as well, although they can leapfrog us after this round of fixtures. But if we can beat Burnley, that might send them on a spiral downwards as well. So let's hope we can do the business on Tuesday as well. I have no doubt that we'll just go at them again, as we did. We'll have to be a little bit more cautious, I think, this time round. But why not take the game to Burnley, whose defence has been canny poor compared to how solid they were last season. Brilliant. I'm absolutely buzzing, and I hope you are as well. And please get your comments in below, because I'd absolutely love to hear from you what you thought of Almiron, and who you thought, what was your man of the match for the day. I'm going to give it to... I'll give it to Almiron, simply because he had a fantastic debut and just sort of stepping in, the way he's integrated and how involved he was with the important parts, and getting the man sent off was basically a huge game changer, really. But for me, Hayden is very, very close behind him, because I thought Hayden was absolutely spectacular today. He really, really was. Did put a real shift in. Anyway, I've been Adam of the Toon Network. Thanks so much for watching, and if you've been listening as well, if you haven't already, please subscribe and give us a like and share with your friends. And yeah, I'd just love to hear from you. I'll try and get through as many comments as possible. Thanks very much. What a win. It's Newcastle 2, Huddersfield 0. This has been a Toon Network match report. I'll see you on Tuesday night. Bye-zy bye.